again, everybody. So a little while back, some of you guys might remember I mentioned that myself and my partner were expecting a baby. Now that video was a little while ago, and she is now with us. She's been with us for well, just over a month. So she was born on the 9th of August, and you know, the 9th of September was a couple of days back now. So yeah, she's a little over a month old, and I thought now would be a fantastic time to share with you guys what it's been like becoming a dad for the first time from my obviously personal experience. So obviously, before I I can't get my words out today. Before I properly get into it, I'll just quickly say that obviously, you know, this is my personal experience. Your experience in this matter may and probably will vary quite dramatically, because you know, different people have different circumstances. No two pregnancies are the same, no two children are the same. You know, you can't, it's very difficult to draw comparisons. I mean, you know, there will be some things that will be similar, and obviously some of you guys out there may experience very similar things, but ultimately it's a very individual experience, so just bear that in mind. And another thing to bear in mind is that I do consider myself to be incredibly lucky. Both myself and my partner are, in fact, and you know, for reasons that I will get into in a bit as well. So with those things in mind, let's get into it. I'll start with the actual pregnancy itself. So my partner, she's obviously very healthy. She's not, she's in her sort of mid to late 20s, and she's incredibly healthy, so that obviously is one of the things in which we're quite lucky. Obviously her being in fantastic health is very good in this situation. So the pregnancy, we were, well, she was just jammy in how lucky she was, because I think the first 2 months were a bit rocky, just only because she got morning sickness. And for those of you who don't know, morning sickness, despite the name, isn't just confined to the mornings. It can be the whole day, and that was a little bit tricky, because obviously, you know, being pregnant, she needed to be eating properly for her own health as well as the baby's, and obviously that's very difficult when every moment of the day you feel like physically throwing up. So that was, the first couple of months were a little bit, you know, like that for her, so that was, you know, a bit unfortunate. But after that 2 months, that basically completely cleared up, and from that point onwards she was just lucky as, because she didn't suffer from anything. She didn't have any issues with swollen ankles or bad back or anything like that. You know, I obviously, I still made sure that she rested loads, did as much as I could, you know, for her. You know, and also once her belly started to get a little bit bigger, it was difficult for her to bend down and, you know, dry her legs after a shower and stuff like that. So obviously I'd help with stuff like that, but for the most part she was walking around quite happy and not having any issues right up until the birth. So that's kind of another way in which we were incredibly lucky. Obviously, you know, as I say, no two pregnancies are the same, so, you know, if we have another kid, chances are the pregnancy might not be as smooth. We don't know, like, you just never know. But, you know, this time round we were incredibly lucky. So that was that. And then, so yeah, there's not really too much else to say about the pregnancy, as I say, apart from we were just incredibly lucky. So the birth itself, that is a very interesting one. So for those of you guys who have kids and were present at the birth, you'll just know. For those who weren't present or haven't been through that yet, you have literally no idea. You know, it's one of those things. You can mentally prepare yourself to a certain degree, and you will certainly try, but ultimately it's just one of those things that you can never be prepared for. I obviously tried to prepare myself as much as I could, and a big part of that mental preparation, if you like, was actually just acceptance. So acceptance of the fact that when the time came, I would have absolutely no control and not really be able to do anything as much as I would want to help my partner. All that I could actually do was just be there and, you know, do, it's the little things. You'll realise, if you haven't been through this already, if and when the time comes, you'll realise it's the little things that make the big difference. Because, you know, ultimately, just, you know, as a man, it's the time in your life when you feel the most vulnerable and the most useless, because your partner is giving birth. She's going through a lot of pain, a lot of everything, and obviously if you're, unless you're completely emotionless and whatever, if you love your partner, you're obviously going to be feeling a certain amount of emotional pain because you're seeing your partner in all that pain, and there's literally nothing you can do about it. So you just have to accept that fact, and also accept that the doctors know what they're doing and they can help and they know what's best. And for me that was absolutely fine, because it was a bit of a relief knowing that there was someone else in the room who knew what they were doing. But I can understand how for some people, the idea that they can't help but someone else can might be a bit kind of, I don't know, some people might find that a bit difficult to deal with, but as I say, for me it was absolutely fine. So yeah, we obviously the pregnancy itself was, I wouldn't say it was difficult as such, but it was certainly emotionally and physically draining, because my partner she started having contractions like in the morning the day before, and she didn't actually give birth until about 7 a.m. the following morning. So it was quite a sort of wild, well, again, I wouldn't say wild ride necessarily, but it was certainly a bit different, I'll put it that way. So we got into the hospital, they set us up. I think we went the first time and her contractions weren't quite close enough together yet, so they sent us back home for a bit, and then we came back later on in the evening and they gave us a room and everything else. And I think the hardest thing was just the waiting, because the contractions just steadily get worse and worse, but it can be quite a while before the birth actually happens, and that's the first thing that you're not really prepared for as a man, is how long it can actually take. Because as I say, we were sitting there awake all night, and you're not expecting that. Obviously, not a problem, but it's certainly something to be aware of. So then through that time, that's the first moment I realised that the best thing you can do is the little thing. It's the little things that make the biggest difference, and I realised that quite early on. And it is tiny little things like, just giving your partner a hug, holding her hand, and just listening to her, like it's doing exactly what she wants. Because my partner, she wanted hugs and she wanted her hand held as the contractions were happening and stuff like that. But when it came to the actual birth itself, the actual moment when my daughter was born, at that point she didn't want me to do anything. She just needed her space so that she could concentrate on managing the pain herself. So she didn't want to hold my hand or anything. So in that moment, the little thing I did was just physically being there, and according to my partner that was enough. And but as I say, everyone's different. Like, your partner might want to hold your hand, they might want whatever, but everyone's individual. But it's, as I say, it's really surprising just how the little things you can do, like just simply being there, makes all the difference in the world. So anyway, moving on from that, so my daughter was born. She was healthy as anything, and to be honest, she had been the whole way through the pregnancy. Again, as I say, because my partner's healthy and because we're incredibly lucky, every time we went for scans and stuff like that, baby was always incredibly healthy. So when she was born, she was also incredibly healthy. Healthy weight, healthy size, everything else, all good. So we... where we live in the Czech Republic, they actually keep mother and baby in the hospital for a couple of days, just to make sure everything is as it should be before they let you go. I mean, so back in England, if you're healthy and good to go, they'll pretty much kick you out as soon as they can because they need the bed space and stuff. Whereas, as I say, it's a little bit different here. They sort of, it's a mandatory thing. They keep you in for a couple of days, and that's mum and baby. Like, as the man, you have to go home at night and stuff like that. And the visiting hours are like only a couple of hours in the afternoon for the first couple of days. It's only like 2 days, 3 days. So we did that, obviously, and then yeah, we brought her home, and And since then, it's been obviously a case of getting used to life with a third person in the family, because obviously, you know, you go from it just being the two of you to it being the three of you, which again is a very individual experience, because, you know, for a lot of people that can be quite a life-changing thing. For me and my partner, I mean, obviously it is, but not as much in the sense that, you know, our day-to-day life hasn't really changed that much, because we've never been particularly ones for like going out too much and stuff like that. Like we've got a nice little social circle that all live around us, so, you know, we go out of our front door and we're socialised, and our friends are the neighbours and stuff, so we don't really tend to go out a lot anyway. And so having a baby for us, because we're quite sort of you know, introverted people, it didn't change much at all. Our daily routines are still pretty much the same. The only difference is we've got baby with us as well, and obviously, you know, the nighttime routine, that's the thing that usually would be the biggest change for people. And a lot of people do say that, you know, they have a lot of sleepless nights and stuff like that. Now this is again where I'm going to say I'm incredibly lucky, and I do fully acknowledge that I'm incredibly lucky, and I do also fully acknowledge that it could change at any moment and we could have a bad spell and have like really bad nights or whatever. But certainly for the first month of having baby, she fell into a routine pretty much straight away. So she will go to bed, will go to sleep about 9-10 o'clock. She'll sleep through till about, well, it varies from night to night, but she'll sleep to about 1:30, anywhere between 1:30 and 3 o'clock, sometimes more, but that's the general, you know, that's generally what happens. So then she'll wake up, I'll get up and change her, and then hand her over to her mum for a feed. And then she'll go back to sleep about an hour later, and then sleep for another sort of 3 or 4 hours or whatever. And to be perfectly honest, that it's not been too bad. Like, you know, yes, my sleep is broken up a little bit, as in it, you know, you're not getting your 8 hours or whatever it is continuous, but, you know, I fall asleep fairly quickly after I've changed her or whatever, so, you know, my sleep's not too disturbed, and actually I don't feel too tired at the minute either. So it's been really, really good. I've been really, really lucky. She's a fantastic little girl. She's so well behaved even at this early stage. You know, again, I fully expect that to change. You know, she will start throwing tantrums when she gets to a certain point and stuff like that, but for now all is very, very good. So that pretty much brings us up to date, to be fair. You know, I will do more videos sort of talking a bit more about things like, you know, preparation, you know, the stuff we did leading up to having a baby, but this was just a brief kind of insight into what my experience has been so far. So yeah, hopefully you guys kind of enjoyed this video, and obviously if you did, please do give it a like. Go check out my other videos. You know, for those of you who are viewing this video because of the subject, my other videos are obviously, you know, mostly motorcycle related and stuff like that, but I will do a few more videos in the future talking about baby and my experiences and stuff like that as a first time dad. So do subscribe to the channel. As I say, go check out my other videos if you want to. And for now, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you all again soon.